Have you ever found yourself struggling to concentrate while studying or forgetting everything you've read the moment you close the book? Be honest, we've all been there. The mind wanders off to a faraway land, or the words on the page seem to be written in an unknown language, or maybe you've just finished a chapter only to realize you can't remember a single thing you've read. These are some of the common study problems that plague us all, but fear not, for every problem there's a solution. Up the notorious issue of concentration. It's the cornerstone of effective studying, yet it's often as elusive as a unicorn. We've all spent hours staring at a page, only to realize we've been daydreaming about our next vacation or the latest episode of our favorite show. The culprit? Often it's a lack of focus, triggered by distractions, or simply overloading our brains. We have the case of the disappearing information. You know, when you read something, understand it, and then poof, it's gone, like a puff of smoke. This can be due to ineffective reading strategies or trying to cram too much information at once. Then there's the lack of interest, the bane of any learner's existence. When the subject matter is as dry as the Sahara, it's a struggle to keep our eyes open, let alone absorb the information. This is where creativity and curiosity come into play, turning the mundane into the fascinating. So, what's the antidote to these common study problems? Well, it all boils down to effective study techniques. We're talking about strategies that can sharpen your focus, improve your retention, and spark your interest. Techniques that can transform studying from a dreaded chore into an engaging and rewarding experience. Everyone experiences these issues at some point, but what matters is how you tackle them. So stay tuned as we explore the art of prioritization, the power of breaks, and the wonders of active learning techniques in the coming scenes. This journey might just change your study habits for the better. Imagine having a huge pile of books and notes in front of you, and you have no idea where to start. Sounds familiar? It's a situation that we find ourselves in more often than we'd like to admit. But there's a solution, and it's called prioritization. Prioritization is the art of ordering your tasks based on their importance and deadlines. It's about identifying what needs to be done first and what can wait. Think of it as a game of chess. You can't just move pieces randomly and hope to win. You need a strategy, and that strategy is prioritization. So how do we prioritize? Well, one effective method is using the Eisenhower box, named after the 34th President of the United States, Dwight D. Eisenhower. The box is a simple 4-quadrant matrix that helps you decide on and prioritize tasks by urgency and importance, sorting out less urgent and important tasks which you should either delegate or not do at all. The first quadrant is for tasks that are both important and urgent. These are your critical activities that need immediate attention. Next, we have tasks that are important but not urgent. These are tasks you should schedule to do later. Then there's the third quadrant for tasks that are urgent but not important. These tasks need to be delegated to someone else. And finally, the fourth quadrant is for tasks that are neither important nor urgent. These tasks are essentially time wasters and should be eliminated. Now, imagine that pile of books and notes again. With the Eisenhower box, you can easily determine which tasks are critical, which ones can be scheduled for later, which ones can be delegated, and which ones should be eliminated. It's like setting up your chessboard. You know which pieces to move first, which ones can wait, and which ones are not necessary for your victory. Prioritization is like setting your GPS before starting a journey. It gives you a clear path and saves you time. Ever tried to power through hours of studying without taking a break? How did that work out? If you're like most of us, it probably wasn't your most productive session. But don't worry, there's a solution: the Pomodoro technique. This time management method was invented by Francesco Cirillo in the late 1980s. The technique is simple yet effective. You work for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. After 4 of these cycles, you take a longer break. Why does this work? Well, your brain isn't designed to maintain focus for extended periods. By breaking your study time into manageable chunks, you give your mind a chance to rest and recharge. This can enhance your focus and improve your retention of information. So, the next time you're planning a study session, remember to schedule in some breaks. Think of your brain like a muscle. It needs rest to perform optimally. Do you remember the story of the tortoise and the hare? The tortoise won because he was consistent and persistent. The tale of the tortoise and the hare is not just a lesson about the virtues of consistency and persistence, but also a metaphor for 2 different ways of learning. Let's delve into the realm of active learning techniques, the tortoise's approach to winning the race of knowledge. First up, we have note-taking. It's not the speediest technique out there, just like our friend the tortoise, but it's the consistent effort of jotting down key points that help cement the information in your mind, just as the tortoise's consistent pace won him the race. Plus, the act of writing helps to engage different parts of your brain, making it easier to recall the information later. Next, there's teaching others. Remember how the tortoise was constantly moving forward, regardless of the hare's taunts. Teaching others is similar. It pushes you to keep going, to keep learning, because you have to stay one step ahead of the person you're teaching. Not only does this technique help you understand the material on a deeper level, it also allows you to see it from different perspectives, just like how the tortoise saw the finish line from a different perspective than the hare. And then we have mnemonic devices. These are the tortoise's shell, if you will. They provide a protective layer for your memory, making it easier to recall information. Rhymes, acronyms, and visual imagery are all types of mnemonic devices that can help you remember complex information, just like how the tortoise's shell protected him during the race. Active learning techniques are not about speed, they're about depth and understanding. They require you to engage with the material, to question it, to relate it to your own experiences. They may seem slower than passive learning techniques like rereading or cramming, but they provide a much deeper understanding of the material. Active learning is like the tortoise. It may seem slow and steady, but it always wins the race. Hey, so we've journeyed through the common study problems, dived into the art of prioritization, took a breather with the power of breaks, and finally, we ran the race of active learning. Let's take a moment to revisit these key points. We started by identifying the common study problems. Remember, every student has different challenges, but there are some universal issues like procrastination, lack of focus, and ineffective study techniques. Recognizing these problems is the first step towards overcoming them. Next, we unfolded the art of prioritization. It's not about studying harder, but studying smarter. Prioritizing your tasks based on their importance and urgency helps you manage your time effectively, so you're not overwhelmed by a mountain of work. Then, we took a break. literally, and explored the power of breaks. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the more hours you put in, the more you'll accomplish. But our brains need downtime to process information and recharge. So, taking regular breaks can actually boost your productivity and retention. Lastly, we sprinted through the maze of active learning techniques. Passive reading might seem easy, but it's not the most effective way to retain information. Active learning techniques like summarizing, teaching others, and self-testing can significantly enhance your understanding and memory retention. But remember, the key to effective studying is not just knowing these techniques, but applying them consistently. Try out different methods, figure out what works best for you, and make it a part of your study routine. It might take some time and effort, but the results will be worth it. In the end, studying is not just about acing exams, but about learning and growing. It's about nurturing your curiosity, expanding your knowledge, and developing your skills. It's a journey, not a race. So, take your time, enjoy the process, and remember to take care of yourself along the way. Remember, studying doesn't have to be a struggle. With the right techniques, you can turn it into a productive and enjoyable experience.